The Prophetess and the Power Cell by J.E. Jackson. 1. It wasn't the bombs in the distance that awoke Arella, nor the smell of gunfire. The shouting of men amidst the screaming women and crying children didn't rouse her either. It was the panicked steps of her mother, Nora. Her heels pattered from one end of the room to the next, frantically entering the small enclave they used as a kitchen. She returned with a loaf of stale bread and a vial of olive oil, then stuffed it into the hand-woven bag she used to carry produce home from the market. Finally, she wrapped a handful of family heirlooms in a sheepskin satchel, clutching them close to her chest as she carried them. The bundle of items was set upon the stool at the entrance with a dull clatter. Their shoes were lined up, ready for ease of escape. Nora stopped at the edge of the room, interrupted by the reminder of her faith, as the mizbaha hanging on the wall glinted in the dying ember of candlelight. Lifting the precious stones up to the center of her forehead, she whispered, "Bismillah." Though her pleas were mere whispers, Arella could sense the urgency of her mother's voice. In the tangle of rushed prayer, she could only make out a few words. Himaya, Rama, Hidayah. Nora wrapped the mizbaha around her wrist and continued her rushed stride while the sound of bombs continued at a closing distance. Before Arella could submit to the overwhelming sense of fear turning her inside out, she remembered her father's words. The disruption of war makes no exceptions for little girls and their dreams. There was a pause between them. Words of comfort or explanation never fell from Nora's lips. She caught the sheen of Arella's frightened eyes. Arella lifted the sheet away from herself as she rose up from the mattress, placing her tiny feet upon the floor. "Mama?" she whimpered, her utterance barely audible. "We must leave, Habibti. It is not safe. They are coming." "Who?" Arella asked, a slight tremble in her voice. Nora didn't answer with words of comfort or prayer. She kept quiet and motionless before turning to face Arella. Her mouth screamed inaudibly as she tried to reach out for her daughter. When Arella looked down at her own arms and felt her face, glowing sigils spread across the surface of her skin, and soon, Arella was consumed by a wall of smoke and rubble. Her father's voice, a distant echo. Then a shout. "Nora! Run!" Arella inhaled sharply, taking her first breath of life to carry her through the day. That dream again. As she pieced together her memories of that night, like mismatched swatches and frayed stitching in a patchwork quilt, she calmed her nerves by counting down from 10 to 0. Every morning was an endeavor for Arella, an endeavor to recall the night her father died. Repressed trauma and childhood memories remained fragmented, resembling sharp pieces of glass, unsafe to pick up with bare hands. So instead, she picked up a pen. Flipping open her journal, Arella's nib landed on the next blank page after yesterday's entry. Deliberate details were included without hesitation, like the way debris caked onto her hair from the collapsed buildings and the choking warmth of chemical gases viciously coating her lungs. The only reliable source of discerning her memories from her dreams was her beloved mother, who encouraged her to write them down from a young age, when the night terrors were most prolific. The pleasant dreams were sparse, while her recurring nightmares refused to relent. Even so, Arella willed the lucidity of her dream to linger, capturing its fleeting details onto the page, like pulling at a stray thread before it unraveled into nothing.